The ink and the iron. Inside the 19th century print shop, to walk into a metropolitan print shop in the mid 1800s was to enter a sanctuary of information, a place where the chaotic thoughts of the world were finally given a permanent, physical form. Long before the silent glow of digital screens, the spread of ideas was a loud, muscular, and deeply tactile process. The air in these shops was thick and distinctive, a heavy mixture of linseed oil, mineral spirits, and the earthy, vanilla-like scent of aging paper. It was a world of letterpress, a term that perfectly describes the mechanical marriage of metal and pressure. Here, every word you read in a morning newspaper or a leather-bound novel had to be physically assembled, one character at a time, by craftsmen who viewed the alphabet not just as symbols, but as heavy, physical objects. The master of this domain was the compositor, a figure of immense patience and precision. Dressed in a stained canvas apron over a stiff-collared waistcoat, the compositor stood before a case, a massive wooden cabinet filled with thousands of tiny individual pieces of lead or wood type. There was a rhythmic, musical quality to his work. The click-clack of metal hitting metal as he plucked letters from their boxes and arranged them into a composing stick. This was an era where uppercase and lowercase weren't just grammatical terms. They referred to the literal physical locations of the wooden trays where the capital and small letters were stored. A single page of a book could take hours to set, requiring the compositor to read backward and upside down to ensure the final print appeared correctly on the page. Once the page was set, it moved to the heart of the shop, the press itself. In the 19th century, these were massive iron machines, such as the Columbian or the Washington hand press. These machines were marvels of Industrial Revolution engineering, often decorated with ornate cast iron eagles or floral flourishes. The process began with inking the form. A worker would use ink balls, stuffed leather pads with wooden handles, to dab a thick, tacky black ink onto the face of the metal type. It required a steady hand and a keen eye. Too much ink would smudge the delicate serifs of the letters, while too little would leave the text faint and ghostly. The ink itself was a precious commodity, often prepared by hand in the back of the shop, a dark, viscous paste that stained the fingers of everyone who touched it. The actual pull of the press was a moment of intense physical exertion. A sheet of dampened handmade paper would be carefully laid atop the inked type, protected by a frame called a frisket. With a powerful heave of a long iron handle, the printer would engage the screw or lever mechanism, bringing hundreds of pounds of pressure down onto the paper. This wasn't just printing, it was imprinting. The metal type actually pressed into the soft fibers of the paper, creating a deep, sculptural texture that you could feel with your fingertips. When the handle was released and the paper lifted, the result was a crisp, sharp image that possessed a depth and character that modern laser printers can never truly replicate. As the 1800s gave way to the early 20th century, the shop began to hum with new energy. The introduction of the treadle press allowed printers to use their feet to power the machine, freeing up their hands for faster production of job work, things like ornate wedding invitations, Victorian trade cards, and theater posters. These documents represented the height of decorative print culture, featuring swirling Spencerian scripts and complex border decorations. Despite the arrival of faster machines, the core tools remained the same. The planer, a wooden block used to level the type. The quoins, expandable metal wedges that locked the type into place. And the chase, the heavy iron frame that held the entire page together. Everything was built to last for generations, heavy and uncompromising. To look back at the old print shop is to remember a time when the written word had weight, literally. It reminds us that for centuries, the bridge between an author's mind and a reader's eye was built by hand, stroke by stroke, and press by press. The men who worked these shops were the gatekeepers of history, their clothes perpetually dusted with lead shavings and their skins stained with printer's devil black. In our world of fleeting digital messages, the nostalgic pull of the letterpress lies in its permanence. It is a reminder that some things are worth the effort of the slow, deliberate, and beautiful craft of the hand, leaving an impression that lasts far longer than the ink takes to dry.